the way I thought of this was really interesting. I was in the movie theater watching Avatar: The Way of the Water, and I went to go get a refill on my Diet Pib, and I saw one of the workers I'd seen earlier there, and he was like cleaning the soda machines or something, and I was about to ask him, I'm like, what's it feel like to work in a movie theater? Because I was genuinely like curious. I'm like, it's a cool environment. Like, you get to be around all these movies, you get to see these new movies, like you get to, I don't know, I've just really liked the movie theaters. I've always liked movies. Like, from a young kid, I wanted to be a director, and just really liked the movie theater. And I stopped myself because I didn't know how he would take that, even though I was genuine about it. But I thought of it later like this. So if I asked him, what's it feel like to like work in a movie theater? Chances are he might take that the wrong way, but chances are he probably wouldn't, because he has no reason to believe that I'm like belittling him or anything, which I clearly am not. However, what I was thinking about is if I just raise my hoodie a little bit, and obviously I got a pretty expensive watch on right here, and then I asked him like this, what's it feel like to work at the movie theater, or like, this place is awesome, whatever, his reference point to my watch might have him like rethink the entire conversation. I used to have a Lamborghini. I don't. I actually prefer my Tesla way more. But when I would drive the Lamborghini, when someone would see me get out of it and talk to them, their reference point was now this Lamborghini. Like, I'm not coming in with a clean slate to them. I'm not coming in with a like there's certain predetermined factors, because when someone sees someone get out of a Lamborghini and start talking to them, they not only are referencing the Lamborghini towards that person's character before even meeting them, but they're also referencing and comparing the standard archetype of somebody who owns one, so whether that be like, this person must know how to make money, or like maybe they're like stuck up, or like all this stuff that is completely out of your control. Therefore, it's going to affect all the things that you do from that point on, before even meeting a person. And same with the watch and all that too. And I think about this a lot too when I go to a city. Like, say, I've been to Seattle maybe 4 times. When I first went to Seattle, I was so in the moment. I was just like, wow, this is look at that, da 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 da. And then the second time I went to Seattle, I was thinking, when I would see a certain location, I wouldn't be thinking like, wow, that's amazing or whatever. I'd be thinking back to my previous visit and comparing it to what I'm seeing now, removing me from the present entirely, and therefore not enjoying it as much as I would the first time. That's why, I think that's why when you go somewhere, it's never going to feel the same as the first time. And I always try to fall into that nowadays, because I know from previous experience of when I, go somewhere, I know that what I'm seeing right now is visually going to look different forever. Like, I thought about that a lot. Like when I went to Austin and I lived there for 2 months, I'm like, okay, this house I'm in, I'm going to take this feeling in, because this feeling is going to be fleeting. Like, I'll never feel this way, or things will never look this way, because it'll start to get I'll start to have such an ingrained, I guess you could say, so many reference points that it becomes literally, it looks different. So this concept is really interesting to me, because I think it's the reason somebody like Steve Jobs dressed the way he did. I think it's the reason why a lot of people do hide their wealth, because when somebody meets you and say you're wearing a shirt that says Balenciaga right here, you are going to be placed in a category of somebody who is into high fashion. Therefore, the person who's in high fashion, it's up to the people that you're meeting and their reference points towards people who are into high fashion to form an opinion about you. I dealt with this a lot when I started coming up on YouTube back in the day. People would have 1 billion reference points before even meeting me. It was creepy sometimes. People would know personal details about me. I'm like, how would you know that? And they're like, oh, we listen to your podcast. I'm like, I don't remember talking about that. I had a conversation yesterday where somebody brought up something I said in a podcast 5 years ago, and I'm like, there's 0 chance I said that. I still don't know to this day, and they're adamant that I said it. But my point being is, especially an online personality, so to speak, it's possible to have so many reference points, the ones you can control and the ones you can't. The ones you can control can be great. Like you can, that's what I called magnetic networking, like back in the day, is the reason like having an online brand is so nice is because like you can just like magnetize people towards you, because the video, they start to form a parasocial relationship and they want to know you just on the fact that they know you. Like I don't know about you guys, any person I watch on YouTube, I'd like to meet in person. There's no reason for me to watch them if I don't want to interact with them in person. So when I do meet them in person, I have all these reference points that I can use to my advantage, maybe in a conversation, or like, I know like at my meetups before, like way back in the day, people would bring me gifts based on the things that I was mentioning in the videos. So yeah, there's the positive reference points when it comes to that stuff. Like you can use certain people's reference points to like garner a connection with them, or you can use it to destroy a reputation. And as you can see with like what's going on with, I'm sure just me saying what's going on with, and you guys could think of multiple people. Now, think of somebody who's always had such a positive image in the public sphere, and then something happens, and then it's all like negative, and then the negatives start to pile on and pile on. It's kind of like what I was describing when I was in like Austin, or when I visit a new city. It's like when you meet somebody and you experience a certain side of them, once you have and those are your only reference points, like positive sides. Once you see a different side, and especially because negativity and like that negativity is so much more, feels more powerful a lot of times, or more attractive, that will like become your main reference point. Is like, they did all this good stuff, but then they did this, but that one thing is so glaring, like, and so like negative, that like the reference points towards there, and then they actually start to look different in everybody's eyes. One of my buddy's wife's father owns like a big construction company, and it's worth tons and tons of money. And he never wanted to buy an exotic car because he's like, if I pull up to these job sites in like a Lamborghini, they're going to look at me different, because the reference point is like, this guy, like here I am slaving away, and this guy has all this money. Like there's going to be like some animosity between the two, because the reference point towards the guy's possessions is symbolic of like a bigger sign of like the wealth gap between the owner and the worker. I remember when I used to work for Two Men in a Truck, this guy would pull up in this brand new Porsche SUV that was so nice, and we were like literal slaves, to the point where like when I quit, they tried to take $100 out of my paycheck to pay the next guy, they said. And I went in there and I was like, I gotta have my $100, or like I'm gonna expose you guys for all this like corrupt stuff you've been doing. And in no point does it say anywhere in any document I ever signed that if I quit, you would take $100 off. And they're like, well, if you want to play the legal game, you're going up against pit bulls, and you're coming in as a chihuahua, we'll chew you up and spit you out. They said all this stuff. And the whole time in my mind, I'm thinking about like, this guy has like this $140,000 Porsche, like sitting outside. Like, and he can't give me $100. Similar to the fact of like, when you have a really nice car and you pull up to exit and there's homeless people, do you think the homeless people are going to go after the guy with like the Camry, or the guy in the Ferrari or something like that? Because the reference point is pointing towards like, he has this, therefore he must be this. I get that a lot. For some reason, a lot of people look at my Instagram and they're like, wow, you're completely different than I expected you to be. Like, I thought you'd be like this way, but you're not that way at all. Like, I've heard people say like, my Instagram makes me look like I'm stuck up, or like I'm addicted to money, or like I'm pretentious, or all this stuff. And they say it was like surprising to meet you because it's not what I expected. So like, that's another huge thing. Like, when you think about reference points of what your own social media can do to you, like there's been certain people I've had to actually cut out of my life because they've been great people in person, right? Great people. Like, I enjoyed them, but then I'll go on their social media, and like sometimes they would just be like so hateful, and a lot of times it's political, like on either side. Like, I don't want you around if you're. I don't want that. I just don't want hateful energy around from either side of the political spectrum. I just want positive people. That's all it is. But then each side would be like, oh, no, you don't understand because the other side's the hateful one. It's like, no, you don't understand. For me, is like I can't get the reference point of you being that person internally, no matter how externally nice you are to me. It's like when you go to a restaurant with somebody and you think they're a nice person and then they're rude to the waiter. Like, that's a crazy reference point right there. And that's the whole premise of like this concept is sometimes they can be authentic and actually represent the person's character, and sometimes they cannot. But my whole point is most of what I've been naming, you can actually control. Like, why would you, unless you're a political commentator, why would you ever post about politics? You're not changing any policy ever with your couple thousand followers, you know, even like a couple tens of thousands of followers. You're not changing any policy. All you're doing is alienating the people who are already friends with you and getting a few like pats on the backs from people who are already friends with you, but you're losing half your friend base. Like, so when it comes to politics, like, man, you could have, and I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, you could have lots of great friends who you disagree with politically, and maybe they don't even know that. But as soon as you identify on one of the other sides, you become the entire characteristic of that side based on the one viewpoint that might be on that side. You don't even know the effect that your reference points that you portray willingly has on other people when they think about you. Here's a great example. So I have this cross. This cross right here is legitimately from the year 450 AD. This cross is 1600 years old. So when I put this cross on, I used to wear this all the time, but unfortunately it's so old I noticed it started disintegrating on the bottom, but I got this imported from Jerusalem. When I put this cross on and I wear it like this, now this is a huge reference point right here. This shows that I am a Christian. To a lot of people in the world, that would make them more accepting of me. To a lot of people in the world, that would make them more unaccepting to me, because just by wearing this, like say you were somebody who felt persecuted by Christians, say like they identified the Christian ideology as not agreeing with their lifestyle, they might see me wearing this, and then they might think that I'm a hateful person. You know, that they might think I'm a prejudiced person. They might think that I'm very like non-inclusive, But then all the Christians would see this and they would think I'm a loving person, I'm a God-fearing person, I choose the side of good. So unfortunately, that's kind of how it is politically. Like when you take, like politics are a form of religion, because if you identify with one thing, a lot of people are going to assume that you identify with everything. Same with like ethnicity, and ethnicity is like one that is super controversial, but you can't control that one. So a lot of people who are racist or like whatever might see your ethnicity and think one thing and identify you with, look at that, and identify you with that entire race. Unfortunately, that's one you can't control. So that's my whole point. Like reference points, you cannot control one way or another, but you can use them for your power. But there's also that contentious point where you might be portraying something that you aren't entirely, kind of like what I seem to do, according to a lot of people. Like you look at my Instagram, you would think all I care about is money. When we're on the topic of religion, I actually had somebody run into a circumstance the other day. Last year, somebody I know was wearing a Jewish symbol. I'm blanking on the name of it. The Star of David. Yeah, the Star of David. And they were at a Whole Foods, and this lady comes up, and she's like, take that shit off. And she's like, excuse me? She's like, take that shit off. And then this lady attacks my friend, starts grabbing her by the neck and trying to rip this thing off in the middle of Whole Foods. Because, like, to the lady, she was seeing the Jewish symbol, which means that, like, she literally thought that my friend was Netanyahu, and my friend was fully responsible for bombing Gaza. And that's a whole nother topic I'm not even going to get into. But my whole point is, you can see how just one symbol can get you associated with so much stuff that you don't even know that you're getting yourself into. And sometimes you do. Which brings me back to like the Lamborghini thing. Like people, like I got the Lamborghini and then all of a sudden it was like, how do I put this? It's like if there's an expectation that now I'm gonna like, there's just an expectation there. It's hard to really say what I'm trying. It's hard to say what I'm trying to say, but you guys should get it now. Like this is the whole ideology of like reference points and, you know, being in the present and like talking to somebody. And that's why like celebrity people I think go so crazy is like there's so many reference points for anybody they ever meet. So they're going to have so many reference points and there's going to be so many. And because of that, people are going to like try to use them and manipulate them when like all they really strive for is just like a normal conversation once without like all this other stuff. So I don't know how much more I can say about the reference point side of things, but I just think it's like an important thing to remember because like, and this podcast is also brought to you by AutoDS. AutoDS is one of the industry leaders in all dropshipping fulfillment tools, but they take it a whole lot of steps further. Not only can you get dropshipping time down to 2 to 3 business days, you also get so many more tools. Because AutoDS is one of the biggest dropshipping softwares in the world, they've implemented a product research tool that tracks all their analytics, all their orders, and then you can use that data to find your own winning products and see where the trends are going, or even use a product that you know is selling really well right now. They have a TikTok ad spy tool built in, so you can even look deep into the TikTok ad side of things for all your product research needs. And all of it is automated. Gone are the days where you need like a VA going around and fulfilling these orders for you. AutoDS, it is completely automated. Not even just the orders, but also the tracking updates and the returns. All of that is taken care of by them. They already have a lineup of 500 million products you can choose from. It sounds like a joke, but that's an actual truth. But I think what really makes them stand out is all their worldwide suppliers that they're connected to. Because most softwares are just like AliExpress and their own suppliers, but these guys are, you know, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Costco, Target, Overstock, Lowe's, and so many more. AutoDS is truly the all-in-one tool you need for all your dropshipping needs. So if you'd like to test it out, go to the link in the description below. You'll get a special deal through my link. Whether you're brand new at dropshipping or an experienced dropshipper, definitely check these guys out. Now back to the podcast. No matter how genuine you are about what you say or what you do, if your reference points are counterintuitive to that, similar to like when I was in the movie theater and I genuinely wanted to know from that guy, like, what is it like to work in a movie theater? Because I never have, and I just think it'd be so cool. The aesthetic is cool. All the food is cool. The movies are cool. But again, if he saw my watch or he saw me get out of a Lamborghini or like I was wearing like heavily designered clothes, that energy of those reference points is actually going to manipulate my message. And he's going to take damn near offense to that question because it's going to be almost like I'm like looking down on him. But if he doesn't know that and I'm just in a black hoodie and I'm just look like a regular person, he might be a little apprehensive, but just because of the fact that I think the majority of society wouldn't look at him like that. So he also has reference points outside of the personal ones attached to myself. So yeah, that's just what I want to talk about right there. I think it's definitely something to keep in mind because you can control them for sure. Like how you are perceived can actually, like, sometimes you don't even know how you're perceived. You're just like doing stuff or whatever, but you're not trying to control the narrative. And there's something to be said about that too, because if you try so hard to control how you're perceived, then you're not even being authentic at that point, and that's a whole nother issue. But now we can move into the next topic of discussion, which is these knowing your dominoes. So I used to be like heavily addicted to marijuana. I used to smoke all the time. I haven't touched that stuff in like years. So I noticed that would be my biggest domino. So you got to think about an image, right? Say like that, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that classic image of like there's a big domino and then a smaller one and then a smaller one or a smaller one. Or actually it's reversed, like a small domino knocks down the next domino, knocks down the next domino, knocks down the next domino, and each domino gets a little bigger. But if that first domino doesn't fall, none of the other ones will. So this whole idea of knowing your dominoes is not only knowing what's the main domino, but also knowing how the dominoes fall. Like, for example, if I was smoking any amount of marijuana, that would knock down the next domino, which is my diet would go out the window. When my diet goes out the window, the next domino would be that I don't go as hard at the gym anymore. When I don't go as hard at the gym anymore, my sleep then tends to suffer. When my sleep, so the sleep domino falls, and when the sleep domino falls, the energy domino falls. When the energy domino falls, my mental domino falls, and so on and so forth. But if I don't allow that first one to fall, none of the other ones can too. And then you also have the middle points too. So like one of those can fall, but it won't knock down the whole stack. But when the big one falls, it's going to knock down everything. And it eventually will. So when people tell you to just live a little, just live a little, like you're not living. It's so funny to me how, like, when it comes to discipline, people will assume that you're not living just because you're disciplined. And this is something I run into all the time. Like, all the time, whenever I'm in my strictest modes, people are assuming that I am not living life and that I should be less strict because that's going to make me happier or something like that. When I'm like, no, I'm happiest when I'm disciplined. And that's the beauty of discipline, because I'm definitely the unhappiest whenever I'm disciplined. That's why, like, when it comes to, like, say the diet stuff, the diet, it like gives you this burst of fake happiness. It's literally just like a drug. It lights up the same parts of the brain as drugs. So you're literally taking in a drug that makes you feel like you're happy, but you're really not. While discipline, on the other hand, they said, I got to verify this stat, but they said, like, working out at the gym every day is like 40 times more effective than antidepressants. Got to verify that fact. I admit I haven't looked it up, but I have seen that multiple times. I'm just mentioning that because I do believe it, like, because it's real, and it comes from this place of honesty and integrity, and like you look back and you're like, wow, I actually did that, and you feel good about this, tied into the energy of excellence thing and all that. But again, I just noticed in myself, and I'm sure it's true for so many people, that when you allow one domino to fall, they all start falling, and then it gets into this like terrible cycle of like putting the dominoes back up. And it's so much harder to put the dominoes back up than when they're already up. It's like, it feels like it's like starting from scratch. And a lot of times it just feels good to have the dominoes be falling. Like, you don't have to put in all that work to keep them up and like do all that discipline work and all that. So it's so important to know that. I know a lot of people, their big domino would be like when they get into alcohol or when they get into any sort of drug. If they can remain sober, they are on such a good path. But as soon as they get into that stuff, it starts to veer off. And then they're like, they do this thing. I found myself in this too, where it's like, okay, this is my last time. So like, I might as well go all out and just like indulge in everything. And then it becomes this repetitive cycle, because the attractiveness to that fake serotonin is so large, because it's so easy. Like everybody loves cheap dopamine, cheap serotonin, but it's not as nutrient dense. I mean, this goes perfect analogy with food. Like McDonald's tastes awesome. Papa John's great. Like all this stuff, it tastes good, but it's an illusion, because it's giving you this fake serotonin boost. It's giving you this fake stuff where there's no substance behind it. While like when those processes in your brain are supposed to be the reward mechanism for when you actually do something beneficial for your life. But the powers that be have been able to manipulate those to make you actually get it now, get it quick, get it cheap, and then there's a lack of substance behind it, leaving the person empty. So when a person is empty, what do they want to do after that? They want to somehow fill that hole. Well, they're getting all their dopamine from cheap sources. They're getting all the serotonin from cheap sources. None of this is fulfilling. None of this is nutrient dense. So therefore, they're going to do the next thing in that process. And that's, say, like, get on antidepressants, get on all this, like, just the easiest way out. Now, I'm not attacking the entire industry here. I'm sure it's proper. I'm no doctor, proper for a lot of people to get on those, but I'm just saying, like, have you tried going to the gym and eating perfect, eating excellent, sleeping excellent, working out excellent, excellent energy, excellent, like everything? Have you tried that first? Or maybe you should reverse engineer how you're feeling this way. Like, really, like, do a analyzation and a breakdown and a probe of your entire life, and think about, like, why do I feel this way, and what can I do to not do that? And it all starts with what powers your body. What powers your body is food, water, and sleep. Get those three things, like, going, and then see. But if those dominoes aren't even up, like, of course you're not going to feel good, because it's not going to, it's part of being a human. But we've gone so far from, like, the authentic human experience to, like, this artificial one that, of course, like, people are going to be like, look at, like, Ozempic and everything. Like, nobody wants to actually put in the work to get the results they want. They want the cheapest, quickest way to do it. But that's going to leave the hole that can never be filled without the work that comes with it. Because when you break down the human experience and everything that we are meant to do at the core of ourselves, that was never part of the plan. So that's basically what I have for dominoes. Just knowing, like, what it is that happens, that you can track back, look at how you get to the worst points in your life, reverse time and see, like, what got you there. What was the first thing that got you there? And how, when that happens again, you can prevent it from even happening at all if you just stop that one domino. Nowadays, for me, it's diet. Because I'm a sober person. I might drink 8 alcoholic drinks per year. I talked to this lady, like, 4 years ago, and this is how brainwashed the older generation was. And she, like, lived in my building, and we were on the elevator once, and she asked me, because she was always, like, going out and drinking, like, all the time, and that's all she wanted. Every time I saw her, like, all she wanted to do was talk about alcohol. And I was like, and she was like, Scott, I want to ask you a question. Like, how many drinks on average per night would you say you drink? And I'm like, what? What do you mean per night? Like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, like, if you take your average week and take all the drinks you have in that week and then divide it by 7, like, what would you say is, like, your average, like, amount of alcohol that you consume per day? And I go, I have, like, 1 drink per month. What is your average? And she goes, I'd say about 6. I go, you're drinking 6 drinks per night? And she goes, yeah, but I mean, you know, it's not that bad. I'm like, no, that's terrible. That is, like, terrible. Like, you're actually defined as, like, medically defined as an alcoholic if you have, I think for women it's like 3 drinks per week, and for men it's 6 drinks per week. So even if you're having a glass of wine every night, that you're an alcoholic. So anything more than that, you're in a bad category. And actually those, because it's medically defined as that, because that's when it actually starts to do irreparable brain damage. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. Moving on, let's get to the third topic of today, and that's dark energy, which I really want to get into because, you know, you can use dark energy for good. And I didn't understand this concept at all. I didn't even understand what I was doing for the longest time. I would just, like, I would get naturally jazzed up by people's negativity. So I'll give you a good example. I was, when I was, like, running, I think I might have mentioned this in a different video, where I was running one night and I was getting really tired, and then I went by the bar and I just saw so many people, like, just sitting down and drinking alcohol that it, like, powered me up, and I just wanted to run, and I just, like, ran so hard. What they call this is energetic transmutation, where you can take certain energies and transmute them into a positive, because generally the energy of partying would bring people magnetically towards that party. You know, they want to party because everyone else is partying around them. I don't understand what it is about me specifically, but from a very young age, I have always felt to flip the energy that is given upon me, especially when it's, like, something that doesn't feel right. Like, for example, if everyone was being positive, I'm not going to start being negative. Like, it's not like that. It's generally the opposite. But for me, for example, anytime I get on an elevator say I get on an elevator, I'm by myself, and it stops. It's like going down that it stops to pick somebody else up. I can with 99% confidence say that that person who gets on the elevator, the door's going to open. We're all both going to do maybe a little head nod or maybe no head nod at all. They're going to choose the floor they're going to, and then they're going to immediately reach into their pocket, and they're going to look down at absolutely nothing because you don't get service in the elevator. They're just going to whip out their phone. So this is what I do. Every time I get on an elevator, even if I'm on my phone and I'm sending a text, when I get on an elevator, I put the phone away no matter what. When I'm out at a restaurant and say there's like 4 of us at a table, and then for some reason everyone gets on their phone or something like that, even if for some reason, because I never get on my phone at the restaurant, even if I'm on my phone and everyone else gets out their phone, I'm putting that phone away because there's no chance that I want to be a part of something that feels dark. Like the whole phone obsession is very dark. The fact that like the average person can't get on an elevator with people they don't know and not feel so anxiety ridden that they have to reach into their pocket to look at a screen. Side note, it's hilarious when I because in my elevator, there's actually a mirror behind both sides so you can see what they're doing. And no joke, guys, I've seen so many people, this is what they'll do. They don't know I'm seeing it, but it's funny to watch. They'll just do this. This podcast is brought to you by dropshipping.ai. That means this podcast is brought to you by myself. This is my website. This website is completely free for everybody. I don't want your money now or later. This is not some funnel. This is completely free. You get a free dropshipping store built by AI. You get free products chosen by AI, and you get a free course on how to use AI to dropship in the modern day era. AI has changed every industry. Everybody knows that, and dropshipping is not excluded. We have the most relevant, most powerful, most up-to-date information specifically tailored to dropshipping and AI fusion that we're seeing right now. And like I said before, this is completely free. I'm one of Shopify's top affiliates in the entire world. In fact, I was awarded top Shopify affiliate in North America, so they pay me to give you guys this for free. It's a beautiful cycle called the cycle of life. So if you want to support yourself and support this podcast and support me, go to dropshipping.ai, claim that store, claim those products, claim that course, and let's get back to the podcast. So they'll just open a random app, close an app, open another random app, close, swipe down. They'll just do that stuff because God knows why. So my whole point to this is I take that energy because, birds are what I covered before is if you do excellent things and people see you do excellent things, they want to do excellence too. On the flip side, when you see people do stupid stuff, that's so dumb to just whip out your phone and look at nothing and pretend like you're on it when you're really not. I saw a lady, this is a good story. I saw a lady the other day, her phone was dead. So I could see in the mirror, she was looking at her phone like this and it wasn't even turning on. Her phone was dead and she was just looking at her phone. And it made me want to not even use a phone anymore after seeing that. Because you're out of your mind. If you're looking at a dead phone, there's something wrong with you. But this goes for a lot of things. So I've known some very negative people, and when they get negative, I try to be super, super positive, overbearingly positive. That's energetic mutation because I don't want it to seep into me so much that I either have to distance myself entirely, which I talked about before with reference points when somebody's social media doesn't match up with their in-person persona, I gotta no longer talk to this person because my reference points is outside of a life experience at that point, and I'm getting an internal psychic analysis of this person, and it's just not good. But when I still have to be around a lot of negative people, I try to be extra positive to them. I try to just be extra, whatever I can do, because I'm protecting my own energy. I'm being selfish at that point. I'm not necessarily, sometimes I am trying to bring them up, but my priority number one is me to protect that energy. Whenever I see or meet somebody super out of shape, and this is my whole point of it doesn't go both ways. So when I see someone out of shape, that gives me so much energy and so much inspiration to get stricter on my diet, start going harder at the gym, that it boosts me up. Because I know when I see something that I don't want, and is unnatural and is unhealthy or whatever, I feel that energy coming my way, I transmute it to lift myself up. And same goes for, I get more inspiration actually from like when, I don't even know, because I might get more inspiration from that. But when I see someone like super in shape, that inspires me just as much, if not more, maybe even less. I haven't thought about it too much. But when I see that, I welcome that energy. I put it into me and it inspires me. Now, there are certain people who will have, like, be on the flip side of that. Like when they see somebody in shape, they're bringing this back to the reference point. They're like, oh, that person needs to eat a sandwich. Oh, that person's unhealthy. Oh, they have all these preconceived notions just based on their shape. So that's my whole point, is energetic transmutation from dark energy to light. But you do not want to be the person that does energetic transmutation from light to dark, because that is just not right. And it's a dangerous way. Is like when you see positive, I had somebody tell me once, like, your positivity annoys me. Like, I hate that you're being so positive right now. Like, that's a clear indication of who to stay away from. But this whole thing of another great example of this is, say you go somewhere cold with your friends, say you go to Breckenridge or Vail or something. What does everyone always have to say all the time? They always got to make a comment. Fuck, it's cold. Damn, I'm freezing. Oh, it's cold out. Whew, it's cold. Okay, saying it's cold does absolutely nothing. It's just like posting about politics on your very small social media account. It does nothing. It actually brings people down around you. And it puts the politics thing does put a target on your back, but just speaking about how cold it is kind of like when you're in war and you're outnumbered and the enemies are coming. That's like you're the guy who's like saying, we're all gonna die. You're not thinking about, like, you're not even thinking about not thinking about it, because that's the whole thing with the cold. I know I'm jumping around here a bit, but I do want to bring up that politics thing again about reference points, because I actually knew somebody recently who was posting about like the New York mayor or something, and they said, like, this is why we can't vote this person. Then they posted about Ilhan Omar or whatever that congresswoman's name is, saying, like, because she was criticizing the United States, and she was like saying, like, don't, like, if you don't want, like, go back to your country if you're just gonna come here and criticize it and try to change it. And like I said, I'm not giving my opinion on either side of that. But my whole point to that is, why are you posting about this? Because the person who posted this, somebody called their work and started saying, like, this person she has a very high up job that went to school for like many years to acquire. Someone saw that on her story and called and was saying, like, are you aware that your is posting is an Islamophobe and is posting Islamophobic stuff on her story and all this stuff? So let's break that down. Because she posted this opinion, a person saw that opinion and then labeled it as Islamophobic, just for saying, like, go back to your country if you don't want to be here, because she was against, like, the mayor or something like that. And then that guy, like, saw that. Again, why would you post about, whether that's right or wrong, why would you post about politics ever on your story? Because you're putting a target on your back. So then, get this. This guy calls her place of work and starts saying this to the front desk lady and then the higher-ups and her boss and everything like that. And then she's got to defend herself. So now they have a reference point towards her, not just being like this nice girl, great employee, da-da-da. Now it's like there's an underlying reference point of, like, is she Islamophobic? I don't know, da-da-da-da. Depending on, like, their political views, of course. But now there's, like, that underlying reference point that she can't do anything about. But it all started with willingly choosing to bring a reference point to your persona. Now, I'm not saying that nobody should post about politics. I think, though, if you're posting about politics, you better be making that, like, what you want to do with your life, and because you're gonna have to deal with the consequence of 50% of the people who follow you, like, if unless you started as a political commentator, but you're gonna deal with the fact, like, if you just start posting politics about political stuff out of nowhere, all you're doing is inflating your own ego. You're probably trying to show like how good of a person you are. You're isolating half of your friend base, and you could say like, "Oh, I didn't want those friends anyway." How to like? I'm sorry to get on the politics thing, but it's so divisive to just say like, "Oh, because my friends have differing opinions of me, that means that I shouldn't be friends with them." I don't know. I never got that. I welcome all opinions, and I totally understand people are going to think differently than me. So, but you won't see me posting about it, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to end this right here, and I hope you enjoy this. Have a good one.